Good evening, everyone. Phil here, and welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Sunday, the 2nd of June, 2024. Today was React Day, so of course that means that we were reacting to clips over on the DSP Reacts channel and also reacting to my retro playthroughs on DSP Throwback. But before we got to that, we had a very important thing to talk about this morning on the podcast, the future of the current playthroughs that I'm playing. Because both Multiverses as well as Hades 2 are essentially receiving, how can I say, not very good attendance, not very good engagement, and not very good support on the streams that I'm doing of them. Notably, yesterday's streams, most people were complaining about Multiverses, saying it's not as good as Smash Brothers and I should drop it. And Hades 2 could barely retain like 170 viewers. The few people that were there were a few people who were engaged in talking with me, but a lot of them were just completely silent. And if it weren't for one person coming by and dropping a big contribution, it would have been a dead stream in that regards as well. So essentially, we had a big discussion this morning about it, okay? Everyone seems to have difference of opinion about various different things. Why it isn't working? Should I continue with them or not? All right? Essentially, what we determined is that there's some other better games out there, or at least maybe not better, but different games out there right now that people might want to watch me play more. There's this horror game that's a throwback to PS1 horror called Crow Country that apparently came out about a month ago, not even. And people are saying it's highly rated. People are really enjoying it. And since they like survival horror that I do, that it would be a great game right up my alley. Another game that people presented was the System Shock remake that came out recently, saying that it's an outstanding game since I've never played it before as well. But it is the kind of like the precursor to games like BioShock. It would make sense for me to check that out. So we kind of had this agreement that it sounds like Multiverses for now is going to go on the back burner and not be played anymore. As for Hades 2, that's still out in the open and kind of up for debate, but we definitely should start playing a different game at this point. So we didn't come to that determination yet because we basically talked about this the entire stream. And of course, we had trolls and idiots coming in saying asinine, idiotic stuff. Like, for example, it's not the games, it's you. That's the case. If it's not the games, it's me. Then why is it that we have chill streams where it's just me talking to my audience for 2 hours and no game? We get attendance, we get support, and everyone's happy. Seems like when it's just me, people like it. It's not just me. The problem is right now what we have is a big issue in gaming right now. No giant AAA releases, no things that are bringing people collectively to my streams to watch me play. That will happen. For example, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, you know people want to see me play that. But right now there just haven't been any big high-profile AAA games of any note. The ones that have come out are kind of not very crowd-pleasing, right? Watching me play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and grinding away in an open world that's very repetitive isn't very entertaining. It's not ever going to be very entertaining. There's nothing I can really do about that. That's the kind of game it is. So that's just the state of the industry right now, right? Anyway, if you want to hear the entire full discussion, watch the podcast from this morning. There's a lot of important stuff there. And the fun part about that is the fans, actual fans of my content, understood where I was coming from and started immediately giving me constructive criticism. I've got a bunch of comments on the video that I really appreciate, so I'm listening to everyone. And tomorrow what I'd like to do on the show is talk more about that discussion and solidify, hey, what game are we going to play instead of Multiverses, and talk more about Hades and do all of that, okay? So that was the whole podcast today. Then we moved over to DSP Reacts for the DSP versus the Internet Clips show. It went pretty well. Good variety of stuff today, notably talking about all kinds of things, like a plane disaster where people dipped and had insane turbulence and people actually were injured and one person died and how that could happen. We talked about the Donald Trump indictment and my thoughts about that. We talked about all kinds of stuff, okay? And it was a good variety of stuff. Gaming, comedy, or animation. Very good variety this week. And surprisingly enough, support was decent, which doesn't always happen, but support was pretty decent for the show as well, which I really appreciated, so it went pretty good. Tonight on the late stream, it was Mario and Sonic at the 2012 London Olympics co-op. It was another 2.5 hours of retro react of that co-op. And listen, here, you want to talk about a night and day difference? Guess how many viewers we had on average tonight? Between 150 to 200. It's about the same as Hades 2, but here's the difference. Everyone was constantly talking. Everyone was engaging. Everyone was riveted at the gameplay that was going on. I was riveted. I was excited. And because of that, everyone's having a good time. Support was great. So everyone had a great time tonight. And again, you can say, well, what is it? Is it Phil or is it the game? It's the game. Some games are just more engaging and fun to watch, I guess, and others aren't. So because it was a game that was engaging and fun, people had a blast, it went really well. Now, just so you know, we collectively agreed we're not going to do this again next week. Reason being, the Olympics, the real life Olympics, are coming up at the very end of July of this year. It's early June. So why do all the Olympic stuff now? We basically have around 20 or so parts. I think it was 42 parts. We're at part 21. So we have like 21 parts left to go in the playthrough. Why not save those for when the actual Olympics are going on and actually do the next 2 streams of this game during the real Olympics? Kind of a no-brainer, no? So I think that's exactly what we're going to do when the Olympics are happening. People will come back to the channel and we'll actually do the conclusion of this Olympic playthrough for Retro React. In the meantime, a new poll has been posted up on the main channel page, community tab of DSP Throwback. What game should be next? And we have 4 epic co-op playthroughs to vote for. Just listen to these. New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Rise of Nightmares on the Kinect, Rayman Origins, and Donkey Kong Country Returns. Each one of these games has unique, standout, fun co-op moments between myself and John Rambo that make them awesome playthroughs. Being that we just did a co-op playthrough for 2 weeks and it worked and people really loved it, I feel like we should do another one. Now, I'm not saying we're going to do co-op the entire summer, but I just think it makes sense to follow up with a different game that has similar or even maybe slightly different vibes. For example, Rise of Nightmares is a horror game, but it uses the Nintendo Kinect. Remember that atrocity? It doesn't work. So we're trying to survive in a horror game, jumping around, physically landing and doing stuff. And I have camera-in-camera, picture-in-picture for that playthrough. And it's hilarious because you can tell the Kinect is just a piece of junk that doesn't detect properly. So please vote on the main channel page of DSP Throwback of what game you want to see next week for the Retro React on Sunday nights. Cool? All right. And by the way, for the record, I think we should do timely content like that on the channel. For example, we do Olympic stuff during the Olympics, right? When the fall comes, we should do horror-themed co-op stuff, or horror-themed React stuff, I should say, during the month of October. It just makes sense, doesn't it? So I think that makes a good idea, and we can continue to do this kind of stuff pertinent to the time of year. Anyway, good streaming day today. Good React day. Good fun on both channels. Good support. I hope you enjoyed it all. Tomorrow we get back to gaming. On Monday, on DSPGaming, it will be the Level 1 podcast, following up on the topics I already mentioned, plus the continuation of Fallout 4 on the first stream, and Street Fighter 6 on the late night stream. This time I'm returning to Zangief. For the first time, I'm going to focus on him and learn his new changes. And by the way, Zangief is one of the most improved characters in the game since this balance patch about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. New combos, new damage output, new meter building, like everything improved. So it'll be very cool to play with them. I'm actually going to watch some match videos tonight to try to absorb some tech to use tomorrow, okay? Plus, remember, new visuals. I couldn't believe it. When I watched back the Lily videos from Friday night, they're absolutely flawless. 0 frame drops. I turned off motion blur, and the videos are absolutely gorgeous, and I had no input delay. I can't wait to keep playing Street Fighter 6 now. I've got to have some of the best Street Fighter 6 videos looking on the internet right now. They look so good. 0 frame drops is amazing for Street Fighter 6. So, I hope you will be here tomorrow for a full and fun day of gameplay, and of course to discuss what the next playthrough should be, since it sounds like Multiversus is going to lead the rotation, okay? Thank you all. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. Peace out.